You're having a perfectly fine day. Then you open your phone. Someone got the promotion, someone's on a beach, someone your age just bought a house, and in about 9 seconds, a day that was totally okay now feels like proof that you're falling behind. You didn't want to compare yourself to them. You know it's pointless. You've told yourself 100 times to stop, and you can't, because what you're fighting isn't a bad habit or weak willpower. It's a survival system that's older than language, and it is doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is where it's doing it. Here's what everyone gets wrong. We treat comparing yourself as a character flaw, a sign you're insecure, shallow, not grateful enough, something to feel guilty about on top of already feeling behind. But comparison isn't a defect. It's one of the most basic things your brain does, and it does it automatically, whether you approve or not. Think about it. How do you actually know if you're doing well? There's no built-in meter. You can't feel your salary, your looks, or your success in any absolute way. The only way your brain can answer "how am I doing" is by looking at the people around you and measuring the gap. You're not doing well or badly. You're doing well or badly compared to someone. That's not insecurity. That's just how the brain calculates your position. And there's a reason it's wired so deep. A psychologist named Leon Festinger put a name to it back in the 1950s: social comparison theory. His idea was simple. When there's no objective yardstick, humans measure themselves against other humans, automatically, constantly. And if you go back far enough, you can see why evolution built this in so hard. For almost all of human history, you lived in a small group, maybe 150 people, tops. And in that group, your rank was life or death. Where you stood determined whether you ate, whether you were protected, whether anyone wanted to have children with you. Falling behind the group wasn't embarrassing. It was dangerous. Being cast out meant dying alone. So the brains that constantly monitored "where do I stand compared to everyone" survived and passed that wiring down. The ones that didn't care didn't make it, which means every one of us is running software designed to obsessively track our standing in the tribe. That software worked beautifully for the world it was made for, and then that world completely disappeared. Here's where it all goes wrong, because that ancient system has one hard assumption baked into it. Everyone you see is part of your tribe, and their level is the level you should be at. For your ancestors, that assumption was true. You compared yourself to maybe a dozen people, all living roughly the same life as you. If someone was a slightly better hunter, that was a realistic, reachable bar. Now look at what your brain deals with today. You open an app and it shows you thousands of people in a single scroll. A billionaire, a supermodel, someone who just went viral, someone celebrating the best day of their entire year. And your ancient tribe tracker looks at all of them and goes, "These are your peers. This is your tribe. And you are losing to every single one of them." Your brain can't tell the difference between 150 villagers and the curated highlight reels of 8 billion strangers. It processes all of it as your local group. So it concludes you're at the very bottom of a tribe that doesn't even exist. The system isn't broken, it's working perfectly, inside an environment that is completely insane by its standards. And it gets one layer more twisted, because you're not even comparing yourself to those people. You're comparing yourself to the version they chose to show you. Think about what a feed actually is. It's the single best moment out of someone's month, the one good photo out of 40, the win, never the breakdown that came before it. Everyone is showing you their outside, edited and filtered and timed for maximum effect. But you experience your own life from the inside. You know every doubt, every boring Tuesday, every insecurity, every unglamorous thing that never makes it online. So the comparison isn't even close to fair. You're putting your full, messy, behind-the-scenes reality up against everyone else's polished trailer, and then wondering why you feel like you're losing. You're not losing. You're just the only person whose bloopers you're allowed to see. And here's the part that stings. Comparing downward doesn't save you either. Looking at people who have it worse gives a quick hit of relief, but it hooks you on needing someone below you to feel okay. Either direction, the machine keeps you restless. Up, and you're not enough. Down, and you need others to fail. It never actually lands on peace. So where does that leave you? Standing there with a phone that makes you feel behind every time you pick it up. You can't delete the system. You'll compare yourself for the rest of your life. That wiring isn't going anywhere. But you can understand what it's actually telling you. That pang you feel when someone's doing better isn't the truth about your life. It's a Stone Age alarm going off in a world it was never designed to read, screaming that you're falling behind a tribe that was never real. And once you can see that clearly, something loosens, because the person in that highlight reel has their own 3 a.m. doubts you'll never see. The person who seems to have it all is comparing themselves to someone else, feeling behind in their own way. Everyone is running the same broken software, in the same impossible environment, all convinced they're the one at the bottom. There is exactly one comparison that was ever real, not you against them, you against who you were yesterday. That's the only race where you have all the information, the only one where the finish line belongs to you. Everything else is your brain measuring you against a mirage. The people you're comparing yourself to aren't ahead of you. They're just further away, which makes it easy to forget they're as lost as you are.